Welcome back, my beautiful blessings. Today is my part 2 testimony series 3 out of 7. And today we're going to talk about the difference between toxic relationships and healthy relationships, because I've had experiences with both. Like I mentioned in my last video, I'm currently in a healthy, happy, loving, enjoyable marriage. And I've been in a toxic, emotional, stressful, draining, irritating, just angry relationship as well. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about the difference between the two, because more often than not we confuse the two. We think that toxic love and toxic relationships are healthy relationships and what love is supposed to be like. But I'm here to tell you that there is a difference, and if you want to find out how, just stay tuned and see whether or not you're in a healthy relationship or in a toxic relationship. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Thing we're going to talk about is the way we handle disagreements in a toxic relationship and in a healthy relationship. And so to begin, in a healthy relationship, you have these disagreements. Obviously, there's no perfect relationship. Nobody just never have these arguments. We don't always agree on things. But in a healthy relationship, when there's something that you feel has been done wrong, or you disagree and you're just a little upset, or something completely happened that you don't like or you don't approve of or you just don't want to tolerate, and you address that issue, well, the person on the other hand, say I'm the one who has the issue. If I'm addressing my husband about it, I'm expecting him to, for one, listen to what I have to say, and while he may or may not agree, it's the way of his response to what I'm saying to him. He shouldn't be yelling at me, invalidating how I feel, but instead he should be trying to understand where I'm coming from based off of his actions. And one thing I always tell him is that I never want to argue. Unlike a narcissist, I don't ever want to just argue for no apparent reason or just out of the blue come up with a situation that's going to just get you all hyped up. No, if I'm feeling a certain way, I'm going to address that with the intentions of either improving your actions or just resolving this conflict we have. And so you're going to listen to each other, you're going to respect each other. And now, don't get me wrong, sometimes we do happen to talk over each other, but then we catch ourselves and we say, hey, what are you saying? What are you saying? Because y'all can't both listen if y'all both talking over each other. So you talk it out. And more often than not, whether you need to take a break or get some space without saying hurtful things, then we do that. But what you want to do is, again, listen, talk it out, and come to an agreement. Whether he agrees or disagrees, well, that's dependent upon him. But more often than not, he understands where I'm coming from, and he takes an effort to better himself. For one, he apologizes. He tells me what he's apologizing for, why, and how he see what he did affected me, right? So he apologizes, and not only that, but we also come on an agreement of what should be done next time, or how should we better go about the situation. It shouldn't be something that's repetitive. It's only, now understand, if you're correcting something that you're used to, it might take like a couple of tries, but it don't take 4 or 5 tries to get it right. It should not be a repetitive thing, or else he's not truly changing. He's not truly trying to fix his actions. When you're in a healthy relationship, there are boundaries. There are clear expectations of what needs to be done. So it's like, in this healthy relationship, you know what happened, right? You know that when you argued, it was about what he did, how he did it, or what he said. But in a toxic relationship, when you address how you feel or you address the situation, the narcissist will do a couple of things. He will either deny what you're saying he said, or what he did, or he'll lie about it, or he'll change up the situation, or they'll blame shift and they'll say, well, the reason I did that is because you did this, or you made me feel this way, or what about when you did that? And so now you're either arguing about a different situation, you're confused as to if what you brought up was what actually happened sometimes, because they'll ask you, okay, well, what did I say? How did I exactly say it? They'll try to play these memory tests on you, to get the point to be steered away from what you were trying to get, solved. So they play all these types of mind games with you instead of just taking ownership. They don't want to take ownership for the situation. They just want to put all the blame back on you and have you deal with their mistakes. And so it can be confusing, it's frustrating, it's irritating. And the thing about it is that they'll lie and deny, or they'll gaslight. And so it's like, more often than not, you be ready to record the situation, write down what they wrote before it even happens, because time you go into this, they're going to try to do something slick that they know ain't the truth, or lie about it, or switch the story up. And then you got to be like, no, you said this, no, you did that. And then you show them the proof and they like, I mean that, or that won't me, or do you really believe that's what I meant by that? Like, of course I didn't. It's like they deny anything, even if it's right in front of them, if it's making them look like this bad person that they truly are. And they'll just try to make it seem like their backhand compliments, or their slight remarks, or when you're trying to be serious and they don't take you serious, that I was just playing, or I was just joking, or you shouldn't have took it like that because I didn't mean it like that, when you understood that that's clearly what they meant. And it's like they try to manipulate you and gaslight you into thinking that's not what they meant, but you know for a fact that's what they meant. They were laughing at your pain. These people lack empathy, so it's hard for them to understand the place you're in, the emotions you feel, when they don't have empathy towards you, when they don't care for your emotions, when they don't care for you as a person. Then you can't expect them to get in a place where they understand where they were wrong. Now, they might say they were wrong when they know you about sick and tired of them and you about ready to go, and they just become this person who all of a sudden knows what empathy is and knows how to change. But that's only for a part in time where you actually believe it and you stay with them even longer, and then the bad behavior continues to go on and on. Sometimes in the relationship, the narcissist will get downright disrespectful with you. If they gotta call you out your name, if they gotta throw your insecurities at you, they will, to get their point across that this ain't about me, even though it really is. And the thing about them is that they're so hypocritical. I mean, not only are they hypocritical, but sometimes you'll even catch them contradicting themselves. They'll say one thing and turn around and go against the very same thing they said. And more often than not, it happens when you catch them in a lie. And so and then it's been many times where I've been like, dude, did you not just see what you said? And I would screenshot it and go back like, you just said this, now you're saying that, you're contradicting yourself, you're such a hypocrite. And it's like, these people really would do any and everything to not be held accountable for their actions. So it's a whole different situation when you're in a simple argument with a healthy relationship versus when you're in a narcissistic relationship, because it's so bad that it just makes you not even want to address the situation, not even want to address your feelings, because they go on a temper tantrum. Like, they will literally gaslight you, cause confusion, they'll put the blame on you, and they even may resort to physical violence. Now, I've never been abused by a man whatsoever, and if I had been, then it'd really be a problem and I wouldn't be there. The moment that happens, you need to go, okay? But I've never been in that situation, but I know sometimes, and some people are in these relationships, and it ain't good. It ain't good. If it resorts to physical violence, you need to leave them now, okay? And another thing is that some narcs will even reach out to people you know and discuss the situation. And the crazy part is, if that person got the same mindset as they do, or if they trying to put the narrative in a way that makes it seem like you did the things they did to you, then they're going to be on their side, and then it's going to make you look crazy, and then you're really going to be like, oh, was I overreacting? Or, you know, should I have even brought this up? Should I have even done this? If you're left second guessing and questioning your emotions as to whether they were valid or not, or as to whether they mattered, or if you should have reacted a certain way to avoid the situation, or if you should have handled it better, or anything in regard to just doubting how you feel in response to how the narcissist treats you, or even the people who said, yeah, she was overreacting, then that's one guaranteed sign that you're in a toxic relationship. And that leads into my number 2, which is, in a healthy relationship, you understand that both of you have needs. You are your own person. And so when it comes to any situation, whether it's your emotions, whether it's what you need physically, mentally, spiritually, you're there for each other. You want to be there for each other, and you want to lift each other up, encourage each other, have each other when you're low, have each other when you're sad, whatever the case may be. You're there for each other, and the way you feel about your partner is the way they feel about you as well. The feelings are mutual, the feelings are reciprocal. But in a relationship that's toxic with a narcissist, more often than not, everything revolves around them. You're so busy busting your tail to please them, to make them happy, to get them to be in a place where they're just not being such a butthole. You do this so much so that you, not only you, but the person you're dating just neglects you. It's like I said in my last video, you're sad or you're crying or you're sick, it's like they lack that empathy, and sometimes it might even make them mad. They're like, yo, why are you crying? Or you're overreacting, or you're tripping. They're undermining your feelings, and it's like whenever you need them the most, they're not there. Their feelings aren't reciprocal for you because they don't love you the way you love them. They don't treat you the way you treat them. And it's like being the person you are, you just want it to be mutual, but you're never going to find that with the person who consistently takes rather than gives. Everything you do is one-sided. It's all for them, never for the both of you. You have to force that, if anything. You can tell them, oh, I feel this way about this thing, or I feel this way about that thing, and they don't care. They'll just brush it off until you get over it, or they'll tell you, you'll be all right. But when it's their situation and they're upset about something, you gotta be there for them, say I know, and then give them solutions to help them. And it could be the simple things like even doing chores or taking care of the kids. It's like, okay, can you even help me with that? It's almost as if they refuse to do the things you ask them to do or you want them to do. And it's not even just a matter of being lazy, but it's almost a thing of just not doing it, because why do I have to do what you're asking me? And not only that, but they just feel as though you should be doing this for me. You should always be cleaning. You should always be taking care of the kids. So why I gotta do that, right? And so it's like, even if it just makes you happy just to have a clean house, they don't go out their way to do it because it's supposed to be about what they want to be done. Moving on to number 3. In a healthy relationship, you grow, you prosper, you flourish, you grow in character, you become a better version of yourself, because two is always better than one. And you're happy, like you're prospering, you're meeting your goals, you have that support you need, that support system. But in a toxic narcissistic relationship, you're less of yourself, you're discouraged, you don't accomplish those dreams and goals because sometimes they make you feel like you can't even do it. And even when you do accomplish things, sometimes they even undermine your accomplishments. So it's like, it's discouraging in those relationships. It just seems like you're miserable, and the more and the longer you stay with them, the less of you become, the more depressed you become, the more helpless and just miserable you become, and you try to make it better, so much so because, like I said, I was in this relationship, and I just would be trying my best to just be like, you know what, no matter what he says, no matter what he does, I'm gonna have a good day. But in a healthy relationship, you don't have to worry about your partner intentionally trying to make you mad or intentionally trying to start an argument to make you upset, and you just go through all these emotions, right? The narcissist makes you feel insecure, not only maybe about your physical appearance, but about your abilities, about what you can accomplish, about sometimes even what you already know how to do. And they can just downplay who you are. It's for several reasons. It's for the fact of them maybe not even feeling good enough themselves, them wanting to stoop you down to their level, or just not wanting you to achieve higher places than they can go because they want to be on top. They want to be number one. And so these people, it's like one relationship will elevate you, the other will discourage you and get you feeling like you're unworthy. Next, we have the healthy relationship that has boundaries, and we have the toxic relationship that has no or broken boundaries. Boundaries itself is when you tell a person, I don't want this to be done. Boundaries can come in the form as, don't ask me questions that I know the answer to. That's just an example, right? So don't ask me a question I know you know the answer to. And when you have healthy boundaries, the other partner understands that this is something you don't want to be done, therefore they're not going to do it, right? And so another form of a boundary can be, okay, set for yourself. I'm not going to text him when I'm mad at him because I know I'm gonna lash out, right? And so this is just an example, because there's many types of boundaries, and only you know what are the best types of boundaries for the relationships you're in, whether it's family or partner relationships. And so whenever I say something and have it set in stone, that's a boundary. So in a healthy relationship, you respect each other's boundaries, and sometimes there might be a time where they break your boundaries, and you have to check them. Say, hey, look, we discussed this. This ain't gonna be cool. This ain't what's happening. So let's reevaluate the situation. And more often than not, it's not a mistake that occurs over and over again, right? But in a toxic relationship, when you have these boundaries in place, the narcissist will break those boundaries, and sometimes you break your own boundaries. So it's like if you're going through this time where you're dealing with them and they're just wanting to argue, and you're like, you know what, if he call me, I'm not gonna pick up because I'm just tired of this, right? And then they call and you pick up. Or if y'all break up and you're like, if he texts me, I'm not texting back, I'm not responding. He texts and eventually you give in and respond. And it makes it even all the more worse when the narcissist knows you're not going to stick to the boundaries you set in place, because then that means that they can just run all over you. And any boundaries you set in place, they'll either attempt to break, or they know you'll give in and break yourself. You could tell them, I don't want you calling me 24/7. I just feel like that's a bit overwhelming. That's just too much for me right now. And they'll be like, okay. And they won't call you a lot, let's say for a couple of days, almost a week. And then out of nowhere, they're calling you. And you're like, dude, I told you not to call me. And then they'll make an excuse as to why they're breaking that boundary. And you'll be like, all right, well, this and that. So you're moving on with it, not realizing that you broke your boundary, and you accepted their excuse for it. But then time come again, and they're going to keep trying to break that boundary and see how much they can get away with you and how much you're willing to put up with, because they're just the type of people that they're going to break your boundaries because they need to be in control and be able to do whatever they want to do with you. Next thing I would say would be a matter of trust, right? In a healthy relationship, you trust your partner with many things. Trust can go in a form of many things. I mean, whether that's trusting him to take out the trash, or trusting him to take care of you, or trusting him to love you, or trusting him to be faithful. Trust overall is just trust, right? And so it's a matter of trusting your partner and being confident in them. Like for me, for example, I am so confident and I trust the fact that my partner is steadfast, he's loyal, he's faithful, and I trust that he will take care of my emotions. I trust that he will not harm me emotionally or physically. I trust that if I were to have a mental breakdown or whatever the case may be, that he'll be there for me. It's a matter of trust. It's a bond, it's a connection, and it's reciprocal. He can trust me to hang out with my friends like I can trust him to hang out with his friends. He trusts me to just be on my own and live my own life, and so do I. So it's about having trust for each other, and not only trust but respect, right? But in a toxic relationship and a narcissistic relationship, the trust there is limited. Okay, you don't trust them with your emotions. You don't trust to tell them everything. You don't trust that they are faithful most times, because they do things that kind of gives you suspicion. They hide things, they lie all the time. So if they're gonna lie about the simple stuff, for sure they're gonna lie about the big stuff. And so you don't trust them. You don't trust them maybe with your children, or them being sneaky and going outside to talk on the phone, or just doing sneaky stuff. Like, you know, they're hiding something, or whether it's just the simple fact that you know something's going on, or you've been possibly cheated on before. So of course you don't trust them. Sometimes they do get caught. So if they didn't get caught, you know, maybe they're still cheating. Maybe they're still cheating even after they get caught. So it's like they give you many reasons not to trust them. And moving on to the next point, in a healthy relationship, you have not only trust, but you understand that you are your own person. You have your own life, and even though y'all are together, you are still separate individuals. And so that person, your partner, should not stop you from being who you are, and hanging out with the friends you have and doing the things you enjoy, right? We encourage each other in those areas, and we know that, you know, I know your friends, you know my friends, and that's cool, that's fine. Go out, have fun. Or if this is what you like to do, if you like to paint, if you like to do that. And sometimes you even join in on the things that you know you both like, and you just learn to adapt to who they are as an individual, right? It's as if you know that there's a necessity to have your own space, right? There's that good amount of space that you want to need, that healthy space, not consistently calling, texting. I mean, it's just like, you know, the perfect amount of space, and you know when it's time to rekindle and come home or text and just do everything in that nature. But in a toxic narcissistic relationship, it's like you can't get a breather. I mean, you're always talking to them, you're always texting, always calling, and some people really do adore that. And then when it doesn't happen, it's like, okay, what's going on, what's happening? But it's that sense that even if you're hanging out with your friends, sometimes they might be jealous. Sometimes they don't really like when you hang out with your friends and rather take you away from them or have most of your time. Not only because the narcissists oftentimes try to isolate you so that it makes you more vulnerable to being with them, but also they truly are jealous. So they don't want you hanging out with your friends, let alone them being the opposite gender. So they just tend to want to control you, control your life, dominate your life, and not allow you to be your own person, because what the purpose is for them to break you down so that you are their person. And then that's where that song by Jasmine Sullivan, Insecure, comes in, because it's like, why are you so insecure? And it's like, I can't do nothing. Like, you always on my back, always telling me what to do, not letting me hang out with my friends. And when I cancel, and even if I have plans ahead of time set to go with my friends, you get upset about it, or you're just angry about it, and then you end up canceling plans with your friends, and you become this isolated person that you once wasn't, you know? And even if you were, let's say, introverted, you still have those friends you like to hang out with, and this person would just make it so much so that you only rely, depend, and have them. You love. The song was Jasmine Sullivan and Bryson Tiller, and they did the song Insecure. And she said, got a lot on my mind. I'm thinking I'm needing a break to clear up the clutter. Man, can I get a minute? Get some space. Man, you've been through my head playing games, man. You be way too controlling. So that's clear enough. She says, got me feeling like I can't breathe. I can't even hang with the homie. Ain't no reason not to trust me. I'm your lady, not a slave. You're not my master. I'll escape. Thinking, who can I run to? Got me looking for a new dude. She says, got me looking for a new dude with a chill vibe, who a nice time, who can lay back, who don't pick fights, who ain't insecure. Because that's the root of who they are, is insecurity, which is why they have the mask to act like they're this person they're not, because deep down inside they are insecure. Just to wrap it up so it don't become a long video, are you happy? Like, are you in a place where you're happy with your relationship? Is making you flourish, y'all flourishing, y'all living life? And no, I'm not saying that means being perfect, but overall just being happy, feeling loved and appreciated, feeling like everything y'all do is reciprocal. Or are you scared to address situations? Are you having a hard time confessing your feelings? Do you feel like when you address something, it's going to start an argument, and then they'd be like, oh, you just want to argue? And it's like everything you do and tell them that's negative, they try to flip it on you. And it's just always arguments, little arguments, big arguments, situations, and they're always ruining something. And you're just miserable, frustrated, and helpless, but you just want to believe that it's healthy, that you're happy. You're trying to convince yourself that you're happy. And like I said, I've been there before. So ask yourself that question. You got to ask yourself, are you happy? Are you truly able to see yourself prosper with this person, love on this person forever, and just be in a situation where you can be comfortable with them, trust them enough? Because if you can't, it's time to let go, baby. I know it hurts, and I know it's gonna take a lot of your pride and your dignity and who you are as a person away, and you might feel like there's no hope after that relationship, but I'm here to tell you there is, because I'm a living testimony. And the most important thing is that is God in your relationship, because if God is in your relationship, then it will flourish, it will prosper, because He is the foundation of me and my husband's marriage. And I can't tell you that if God wasn't there, it would be the same. Like, we need God, and he is who help us to love each other even when we have flaws, even when we have differences. But as far as the lying and manipulating and stuff, I mean, that's completely different. I mean, Satan is the father of lies, so that's a whole nother situation. But God is the foundation, and He's the most important thing in this whole relationship, to even have a happy relationship, based off of my experience, and one that's going to stay, one that has a foundation, that in times where you frustrated and mad at each other, that's who's going to be that glue and bring you together. All of the credits to Him in my happy relationship. And so if you're not in that relationship, you still have hope. There's still hope if you're in a toxic relationship. And if you need help, I'm always available. Everything's down in the description below, and you're welcome to contact me, and I'm happy to help you get out of these relationships, because it ain't always easy. I mean, I went back twice. It's not easy. But once you understand what goes on specifically in that relationship, you understand that it's time to go, and that I'm not willing to deal with what's to come and what's been happening, So I love you, beautiful blessings, and I hope this video blessed you.